My name is Beau. I grew up in Fallon, Nevada, which is out in the middle of the desert. When I was really young, I was introduced into gaming. All my friends liked playing video games. I liked it, loved it. I really found it kind of a drawing, kind of almost addictive. Kind of absorbed my thoughts when I was in high school. I spent a lot of time thinking about video games. After I left high school, I played a lot. After work, in my free time, on the weekends, I played all the time. I played because I wanted to drown out the life that I had created. Life without God that I had thrown away. I felt empty inside. I felt like I couldn't relate to people anymore. It began to absorb my mind, absorb all my time, to the point where it cut me off from my family. I tried to make video games the purpose for my life, to drown out my problems at work, to drown out my problems in my days, family problems. I used it to drown out everything. Because I was a sixth-generation alcoholic, it became an addictive property, basically another numbing effect to the mind, so I could just drown out life itself. I had two really bad employments, so I had a lot of stress. I picked up smoking to help me deal with that stress, but my primary was coming home and staring at a screen and forgetting that I was in this world. Now, my sister's been Bible working for 8 years. I knew she was a Bible thumper, as I called her at the time. So I was kind of hesitant to answer this. And I kind of knew the answer she was going to give me. And she gave me exactly what I thought she was going to give me. She says, well, why don't you see who God is and see if He can give you a purpose for living. I blew off the whole thing where she told me about God, because I had rejected God. But one thing I couldn't reject was the question she posed. What do you think the purpose for living is? That one hit me deep. I didn't have an answer for it. My sister gave me a book. It's entitled See with New Eyes, written by Ty Gibson. Marvelous book. Highly suggest reading it. That book introduced to me a God I thought never existed. It was a God who wanted to have a personal relationship with me. It was a God who actually really wanted to love me. Actually cared about what I did. Actually cared about what I did to myself. I felt this burning desire inside of me that something out there actually really cared about me. After I read that book, I started reading my Bible in the morning. At first, I just gave 10 minutes because that's all I really wanted to give. I couldn't see myself getting out of bed for half an hour to read the Bible and I'd just fall asleep reading it. So I went to just 10 minutes. I started noticing how much I was really just addicted to video games, how much of my time it consumed, how much of my thoughts it consumed. It really started to bother me how much I was dedicating to video games. I really started to notice how much of an addiction I had with video games. I didn't want to admit it, but I was really starting to have an addiction. I really had an addiction. And all God was trying to do was get me away from that addiction. Felt like God came to me one day and said, I want you to get rid of it completely. Back at Christmas time, I quit smoking. Now it was April, and God was telling me, get rid of your video games. I want your time. I want your thoughts. And I can't spend any more time with you if you want to spend time staring at a screen, killing people, training your mind how to kill people in video games. So I can't spend any more time with you. That's what it felt like in my heart. So I said, all right. It took about a week contemplating it, rolling it around, and I said, no, I can't I can't give it up. It's my friends. It's the only two friends I really have. And God wants me to just give that up. But at the end of that week, I said, this is where I draw the line. I either find out who God is and find a purpose, or I stay stuck in this world where it's the same thing day in and day out that I've experienced for the last 2 years. It's been absolutely dissatisfying in life. So I said, all right, Lord. I got online, put my headset on, friends were online. I told them, I says, hey brothers, I'm gonna stop playing video games because I feel God's calling me away from it. I didn't really talk much about the whole relationship thing with God to my friends because they were raised in the Adventist church too, and they left because they were tired of the same thing I was tired of. I spent so much time blaspheming God in front of them and telling them F God and I don't care and I don't want nothing to do with God anymore, that I felt shame when it came down to telling them that I was leaving video games for God. So I just said I'm going to quit playing video games because I think God's asking me to. It took a real humble pill to tell my friends that. Their only question was, why, man? God's not got nothing for you. But I felt different in my heart. I says, yeah, maybe, but I'm going to find out. You might see me on in a couple weeks. You never know. Needless to say, that was the last time my friends ever saw me online. I took everything that I had, video game, every piece of entertainment that I had, and I put it in a Tupperware container and I stuck it in my closet. I had $2,000 worth of video equipment. I had my TV, my headset, my Xbox, my PS3. I had stacks of games. I had all the new titles that ever came out. I knew almost everything about every other game. I knew where to find everything. I memorized half the guidebooks just to get stuff. And I took all of it and I packed it away and I threw it in the back of my closet, and I says, I'm going to find out a different lifestyle. That was the best decision I ever made. As I read more and more about God, I found out so many more exciting things about God that I could never find in the TV screen. All of a sudden, it's just the simplest of things, like I found out that every moment, every breath that I took, when I breathed in, it was a very gift from God. I could start savoring these small moments. And it added to my life abundantly daily. That I could invest in these small things that made my life so much easier. I didn't have to drown it out anymore. I could start looking for the small things. Yeah, I had problems. Yeah, things came around and I wanted to turn back around and run back to video games to solve my problems, but I thought, well, God's already brought so much joy into my life about bringing me more fullness. Why can't I just turn to Him when I'm having a problem? So when I had problems, I went to the Bible and I tried to find peace in it, and I was richly rewarded for it. It finally seemed like God was giving me a purpose. And to me, this was the most exciting thing in the world. Life's a fuller story now. Each day is a new day. Each moment's a new moment. Because I have a purpose for living. I have a purpose for fighting through the trials each day. I don't have to let it bug me much. I don't have to drown it out. I take it to God, and I can have peace and I can have joy with God.